You will lose massive amounts of money in Airbnb and short-term rentals if you skip the design work and if you skip adding in revenue-driving amenity. I know this because in the first 8 Airbnbs I bought for myself and partners in the first 9 months, I did this. I made tons of money on the deals that I did with partners where we didn't skip design work, general contractor work, landscaping work, etc. And on the flip side, on the deals I did on my own where I barely had enough cash to just scrape by for closing on the home, I didn't have the funds to deploy into enhancements. I got kicked in the absolute nuts. So in this video, I'm going to pull back the curtains from a live call that I'm doing with one of my clients after they just closed on their second short-term rental. This is after we've done this for over 400 closings for other clients in the past 4 years. I'm going to walk through the power laws of maximizing heads and beds, maximizing the revenue-driving amenities, and then stealing specifically from the other top performers in the area so that there's no guesswork or legwork when it comes to identifying exactly what you need to do to enhance the value of your rental, meaning you can do more average daily rate, more occupancy. So let's dive in. Congratulations on the close, guys. We might be a little preliminary, but I'm excited for you nonetheless. So what is a power law? Power law, or a coefficient, or some sort of like rank order list, is the order in operations on which we get returns from doing things in a specific order. So as soon as we start diving through these, they'll almost be kind of obvious. So the first and foremost one is add bedrooms, right? So let's say if you guys closed on this home and instead of 5 bedrooms, let's say it were 7. Instead of 4 bedrooms, let's say it were 6. There is a significant stair step up in revenue that we can command. We can charge higher average daily rates. We can charge higher we can have higher occupancy. That is a product of literally heads and beds. And I'll put this on the side here. I'm going to put this as heads and beds, right? Now, when we go a little bit deeper, we'll see that there are a few ways to do this, right? So even if it's not adding a bedroom, an alternative could be we could add an ADU, right? So if you guys have backyards, there's high incentive to do this with what are called tiny homes right now. So you get insane depreciation. There's like a 5-to-1 ratio. Every dollar that you put in, you take a 5x on top of that. So if you put like $100K into your tiny home addition, you take literally like a $500,000 write-off. Don't quote me on that because I was just actually exploring that over the weekend with another client. You could add in, if you can't add bedrooms, so again, what we're trying to solve for is just heads and beds, so we can literally sleep more people. The more people we can group in, the more we can charge. You can do things like bunk beds, and you can also do things like rollout beds or Murphy beds or trundle beds, right? So when we take a look, trundle beds. Okay, so when we take a look at everything that we can do in this home, this doesn't really take much time at all. You guys will decide yes, no. Do we even want to do an ADU? Do we want to, knock out a wall and extend the extent to which we could, literally add another bedroom in here? Probably not. This would be in your guys' very first one. But some of these, like the bunk beds, the rollout, the Murphy beds, those are pretty straightforward, low degree of difficulty. Okay, so that's item number 1. Okay, if we could literally just sleep more people, if we can cram more people in, we can easily charge more. We can support larger groups. We can charge more. That one's pretty easy. The second one, and I would say this is the one where we're probably going to spend the majority of our time today. It's steal like an artist. Steal like an artist. Okay. There's this brilliant book by Austin Kleon. He highlights that some of the best artists don't necessarily try and get divine inspiration to determine what they should be doing for their art. They steal from others. And what they do is they iterate on what has already proven to work. And this beautiful synthesis of them taking inspiration from some of the greats leads to their work also being great. And the final product is very uniquely different. And the product is brilliant. What we're going to do here is we're going to take this ethos and we're going to specifically look at comps. And we're going to see those homes that are, so to speak, punching above their weight class. And then we're going to isolate, hopefully, based on this little matrix of the top maybe 3, 5, 7 comps that we want to reference. And this will be a 2-part process. We will first isolate those comps. And we will try and start isolating the specific amenities that they have. So we might see, hey, there's a very strong trend with people who add in saunas in this area. They tend to be punching significantly above their weight class. To an even simpler extent, we might even just, we don't even need to look this hard. We might see things like there might be a pool that is a clear cut. And spoiler alert, this is literally like the number 1 thing that you can do to both add value to the property, like it's appraised value, the valuation of the property, and also get significantly an uptick on average daily rate and occupancy. And we will explore if it makes sense to do it with yours. Might not be something based on any constraints that you guys have in terms of capital to deploy. It might not be something that you guys do right out of the gate. In future conversations about your upcoming deals, we probably will bake that in even more heavily into the underwriting process and the income projection process, just because of how consistently this becomes the number one amenity we've now started adding in across other clients' homes consistently. So it is very substantial. So we'll isolate the comps, and then from there, we'll isolate the actual amenities. So what this looks like is it's a list of like, maybe 4, let's say, homes. And then from there, we'll kind of draw out this grid of like, okay, every one of them has this, 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 and this. Therefore, we should be adding that in ours. After this, and this is kind of baked in here, so hey, we have this opportunity to steal. We have this opportunity to literally peek behind the scenes and see what other homes are actually grossing. So we can like cheat and know, okay, there's, very minimal guesswork. We'll take some low degree of difficulty or low degree risks on some of these items that are very clearly, okay, everybody who has installed a sauna in their backyard and has also nailed the like fundamentals of the interior design stuff, like they're just literally making more money than everybody else. Some riskier ones or higher degree of difficulty or higher degree risk would be things like, hey, we know in other areas, there aren't many people who have pools in this specific area, let's say in the Pocono. There aren't many people who've literally, excavated earth and dropped concrete in there and then put a very high quality pool lining on top of that and then launched an actual pool. Those might be things where we recognize, okay, we take data from other areas and we kind of decide to what extent do we want to take that risk here. So it's not necessarily like we get to steal this one-to-one inspiration from stuff locally. We'll have to take some sort of a risk. Third and final item is once we've isolated the comps and those little items that are revenue driving amenities and we know what we want to add in, the final thing is when we're actually doing the stuff. So if it's a designer, landscaping team, general contractor, if you guys are involved, if you guys are not involved, if you're doing it all yourself, it's superior and unique, if I could actually spell this, or an even better way of saying this, which I've been saying lately, is let's just match and exceed. This is probably the cleanest way to suggest this. What we'll be seeing for the interior, and this is mostly things like what the bedrooms have, which are quite simple to do exceptionally well. Dining rooms, living rooms, what they have. Those levels of interior design. So let's talk about bedrooms. Let's talk about living room, dining, which sometimes is the same area as the kitchen. Let's talk about game room. These items are quite easy for most designers to absolutely just nail, so long as we give them the right comps. So that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. So the rank order list would be, number 1, if we can sleep more people in here, we can command and charge more. Number 2, if we've isolated the correct comps that are clearly like reasonable comps, and there are some of them that are very similar to us, aesthetically, the fundamentals of the property itself, but they're somehow punching above their weight class. Can we isolate the amenities that they've got that are helping them to do so? And then the final item would be, all right, now it's actually time to implement and do the stuff. When you're coaching or conveying onto third-party vendors that are helping you with this, we'll have to convey to them, we need to match the level of quality and really like beat it, right? We are literally competing with these people in this marketplace. So if we see, for example, there are some homes that are just absolutely cooking in terms of average daily rate and occupancy, and we can steal the majority of that stuff, why not steal it and also do it better? Why not get a slightly nicer hot tub? Why not get a slightly larger or nicer sauna? Why not get a slightly nicer or larger putting green? And then we can take some of these other like ancillary things that people in this market don't already have, but we know from separate data that convert exceptionally well in other areas. Things like pools. There are some people in this area who have sand volleyball courts if their backyard is exceptionally large. And then what we'll finally do is like this rank order list of like, okay, here's what you should start with immediately, so long as cash is not a constraint. And then as time goes on, there are these other bigger swings that you guys could take and potentially even like add value to the home. Ideally pools, because I wish I had added pools in literally every one of my spots from long, long, long ago. The pools are quite simple. 3 weeks and it's done. If everything goes right. I'm learning it right now. So I'll get you on the pool game next year.
We probably don't have enough land on this property to put.
We'll talk about the constraints. My new motivation for doing real estate and also substantially scaling this team is to get more of my time back. I mean, I save literally like multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars on tax every year. I haven't paid any federal income tax in 5 years now. Now it's the utility of extra money isn't so substantial. The thing that is very substantial is getting back time, which I'm certain you guys will uncover. I don't think you're like me. Your mission isn't to like conquer everything in real estate like mine is. But you guys are probably trying to like just consistently make more money without over exerting yourselves and then having more time for each other and the family. I'd say that's like 95% of what everybody's trying to do. It's like if we could just keep making money, but keep more of it and net make more, keep more, and travel more and be less stressed. It's like, whoo, that's everybody's dream. That's my dream too. I also want to make like, $100 million while I do it too. So we're trying to crack the code on that. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now is this. We're clear on the thesis and the rank order coefficient stuff. If we could theoretically increase the bedrooms, if we could theoretically add another room, if we could theoretically add an ADU, we're clear on that. We'll talk a little bit about that. Like there are obviously some rooms. I think you guys have some bunk beds in at least one of them. We'll talk about, probably makes sense based on the comps. We'll let the comps tell us this, that it makes sense to, improve them. We'll let the data tell us. And then specifically, first thing is just identifying what are the homes that are doing exceptionally well. So same, similar size. They don't have anything like crazy, crazy different about them that are intangibles, like proximity to the water or like some majestic view that you guys can't replicate. Those would be more intangible things where it's like, all right, we can't take a crane and, dig this home out of the earth and then just lift it up and drop it over somewhere else where you guys would get proximity and views. But everything else that's like reasonably, you could replicate and even exceed it. We'll definitely start focusing on those. All right. So the first thing is, while we're also doing this, I'm going to keep in mind, we've already modeled what your likely annual expenses are going to be here. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's including the co-hosting fee. And what we'll do for this exercise is let's make all this even more aggressively high right now. So let's say you guys didn't get as low of an interest rate. You work with a co-host charges a little bit more. Okay. So let's just say 70,000, okay, is the expense number. What I'd ideally like to see is if we can know with great certainty what we're actually going to add into the home and stay above a 12% cash on cash return. This is insanely good. If it's above 15, if it's above 18, if it's above 20, that would be excellent, sensational, phenomenal. I have no idea if that's the rank order extent to which each adjective is slightly more impressive. But that's what we're trying to shoot for. The really good news is you have a lot of homes who are comfortably doing over 70 grand a year. So the nice thing is, and a lot of these are not even on the market year round. So some of these are actually doing quite good without being available full time. All right. So again, that thesis that we conveyed, the true product market fit of Airbnb is group travel, specifically luxury and premium group travel. So therefore, it's group first. So obviously the heads and bed stuff, we talked about this. I think for you guys, it's not realistic to consider adding bedrooms. I don't think you're going to knock out a wall, upgrade your septic system to be able to support more people, specifically in this area. If it were in another area where, there weren't sewers or wells or septic that the water and the wastewater operated on, you wouldn't even have to be concerned about that. It's quite easy to do it in those areas. Here, I don't think it makes sense, at least not yet for you guys, right? We will take a look at the comps. And then after we have a list, we'll start going through what do they have in the interior, what do they have in the exterior, and then we'll have our rank order list. And what I'll try and do is bake it into the pro forma with as accurate of a rough estimate as possible. The furniture costs, the amenities costs, what we're going to pay a designer, landscaping team, general contractor, since I don't think you guys are going to, show up with your toolkit and bang away at this thing for like 2 to 5 days for the interior, exterior stuff, for the general contract, and then the design stuff as well. I don't think that you guys are going to heavily take the ownership on that. I have already taken quite an extensive look through comps in this area, quite a bit over the years. So we actually, as a team, know a lot of these. 2,700 square feet is solid. Things that we're going to be looking out for is quality of the kitchen. So you guys actually do have a nice one. Good news is your cabinets are solid. You're going to hear me saying a lot on this call. Solid. Countertops, solid. Faucets, solid. Bar stools, uncomfortably solid. these you will probably upgrade. These are a little uncomfortable. It's not that it's a deal breaker, but what you will notice is some of the more luxury ones, either in this market or other markets, they have more like soft plush chairs and stuff. So again, I'm just quickly orienting and calibrating myself on this. Yeah, you do have a nice dining room area. So it's not super cramped. A lot of the homes in the Poconos are kind of cramped when they get into this range. They're like 6 bedrooms that are only 27, 3,000, 3,200 square feet. Nice news is you guys have a lot to work with. Your floors are actually in solid shape. Solid. Washer dryers there. Very good remodel from whoever did the fix and flip on this one. I don't think it was super, super recent, but they did a really good job. You have the loft, cool light fixture. TV is aggressively high, but that's a product of the fireplace. You obviously have to put it above the mantle. There are a couple alternatives that you can do. You can get one of those TV stands. Just have to be very, very careful that this heat doesn't get too close to proximity to the TV. Otherwise, you'll fry that thing up. Home will reek of plastic. Hot plastic. Can't wait to get that 2-star review. we lit the TV on fire because they put it too damn close to the fireplace. So you guys do have a substantial basement. You guys do have a substantial living room. I think this is your loft area upstairs, if I'm
Yeah.
correct. Yep. Okay. So we have some options to play around with. You have the bunk beds in the one. They did do some accent walls in here, which is cool. I think when you guys end up working with the design team, and I'll talk about who to intro you to after this call, or maybe right after you guys close, since we're doing this one right before you close. Accent walls, you're going to see that those are very consistent revenue driving enhancement to the home. Probably get a general contractor who redoes some of this weird finish stuff and dirt out here. They didn't even sweep this thing up before they took these photos. We'll talk about whether those quality of bunk beds should stay. This bathroom tile and the walls look like they're in great shape. And then the exterior for sure. So eventually what you guys will do is when you close, we'll ask closing or the title company to get you guys plot lines so you can see exactly the extent to which your terrain is available for use. So they have a floor plan here. This is very useful. Yeah, so you got great room down here. Cool. And then I imagine they don't have one for the exterior. Okay. So I'm familiar with what we're working with.
Mhm.
Let's quickly sprint in and grab some of these existing ones. So now we may have already done this. We actually did a little bit. So we can fast forward through this a bit. On
Yeah.
our last call, let me get rid of this one and then pull up the one that we are going to use. So on our prior call, we did start pulling up list of comps. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got this one. Doing roughly 140 a year. So let me pull this one up, which I believe is this one, the Villa Vincente. Phenomenal. This is almost A plus design work. Oh no, it's this one over here. Yeah, so this one actually did 126 in the last 12 months, according to this 12-month snapshot from today, 12 months backward. So they probably had around 16, 17, 1800 a month in cleaning expenses and cleaning revenue. So let's just say that's like 17, 18, 19 grand. Back that out of this amount, which AirDNA is going to showcase here. So we did closer to like 107. And then I would say based on a lot of the co-hosts who manage stuff in this area, around like 20, 25, sometimes even 30% of revenue comes from other platforms. So booking.com, Hopper, Expedia, other platforms. If you have a direct booking platform and the co-host, has like a JV or a joint venture with somebody else's like email list or another travel list. I now advertise on Beehive, which is a newsletter platform. So I just run ads. I pay like $2.50 a click for people to, consider staying at my places. Every other week, I get like a massive booking that many times over pays for itself for those ad costs. And I encourage all co-hosts to add that in as well. So this one is a good comp. I think I also got the this one as well, Villa Vicente one. So I'm
Yep.
pretty sure it's this one, which we've already identified and looked at a couple times. So then today what we can do is we can start stealing items from each of these and then
Mhm.
consider what should be the rank order list. So that process, if you guys want to look back on this video after, we'll start seeing things. And for the sake of time, I won't go through this as if I'm like some curious, this is my first time doing this. Stuff like this, like massive TVs, despite it being mounted so high because they have no option. But accent walls, it looks like somebody put heavy consideration and intent behind the design here. And if we were to reference this against our thesis, so I'm big on, always having a thesis statement that we always get to challenge. The group travel element is certainly there. I mean, literally both of these, one is a 5-bedroom, so this one that we're looking at, and then the other one is a 6. Now yours is a 6-bedroom too. And by the way, if we can literally hit these numbers that we're trying to optimize for here, I mean, you guys would be cash flowing like literally $40,000 to $70,000 a year. Obviously, they were going to encounter some constraints, like literally the layout and the design of this home, the actual floor plan and the quality of the flooring, the amenities, other items. Unless your guys are gonna, gut, 30% of the home and redo it, we can't match those. Which is why I don't necessarily think we'll get somewhere in this range for your first year. Almost everything in this range is 100% on the table. It just depends on the extent to which the capital for the budget is available immediately. As time goes on, I would like to see you kind of get into some of these tier 2, tier 3 items. Not that they're lower in the total net income result that we generate, but rather, hey, pools might be like 50 grand in this area. If it's a larger, nicer one, it might be like 80. And when you guys do get access to the capital, I will 100% recommend that. And I'll ask you to swiftly accelerate into that timeline in which you can do it, especially before the summer months. Because one of the things you'll notice here, and let's just fast forward to one that's even way above, way above its own weight class in terms of how this one is punching. This is an 8-bedroom. It is a very substantially large one, as I've looked at this one considerably. They also just absolutely nailed almost literally everything for the design stuff. So I would say this is like, if you want to get an aggressive grading scale, this is like B plus, A minus design in almost every room. I would ding them for this sofa. This thing looks like they kind of went on the cheap side. This is not bad at all. This is kind of weird, but I think they have a space constraint. The accent wall is really, really cool. So if we were to go through this as if I were just doing this for the very first time, literally sit and write out, kind of like we were doing in our prior example last call. So things like, definitely stealing quite a bit of design. Their living room, this hard accent wall, this accent wall. What you'll consistently see is accent walls in these areas. Every designer that will ever pair you up with, they know this, right? They don't need this extent of detail on the fundamental narrative that like actually drives people wanting to book these types of places. Like they know it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put AstroTurf on this whole frickin' wall, right? They know it works. They know that, pool tables work. They know the game room works. What I'm going to specifically synthesize in is if I see very specific elements that I think make a ton of sense for us to specifically reference, we will make sure that those convey. So here's the second example that I think we've highlighted this multiple times over now. I'm going to pull both of these comps up side by side, and I want you guys to identify something unique about the kitchen. I think, well, you guys get the cheat code because I know we already spoke about this, but I'm going to put them front and center. What are we noticing here? Everybody chime in 3, 2, 1. What were the things we talked about in the last call? So for whatever reason, the extent to which these kitchens apparently, and this would be my inference, it does seem like they look a whole lot more spacious and for whatever reason, appealing in terms of either luxury or uniqueness or superiority. Again, it just goes back to this thesis where everything is essentially, do we convey that this is a more luxury or premium group travel experience? It's not that cabinets are somehow like less than or inferior.
Mm.
But for whatever reason, I mean, these look absolutely phenomenal. So again, you guys don't necessarily need to like rip that idea. But the
Yeah.
accent walls are definitely there. The sizable dining room table, I mean, this is an 8-bedroom home, so they need to comfortably be able to seat at least, I would say, 10 to 12 people, at least 10 to 12. They probably have additional seating, would be my guess here. So either like bar stools or some other table where people can also gather with them. But yeah, the design for this accent wall is sensational. This is kind of a small table actually with only 8
Mhm.
people,
Yeah.
potentially squeezing in like 20 to 22 guests out there. So I'm surprised they didn't go to the extent of, grabbing other stuff. These accent walls are phenomenal, right? So you see exactly what they're doing. They got the 2x4s here. They got the painting squad. They also nailed the bed frame as well. So this is a luxury premium bed frame. So if I were, doing this through a completely objective lens, I would be listing all these continuity pieces. So what I'll start doing is listing exactly that. So some of these things, and then I'll do, let me go down here so we can start spelling this out. So trends, right? We're seeing accent walls almost everywhere, right? So hard color paint. So I've seen dark blue, teal. We have seen gray. So we see gray in this one. We're using wood. So like 2x4 or wood mosaic accent walls. And then we're also seeing the AstroTurf. Do you guys recall that massive wall of greenery? Okay. All right. So we've now started. I'm cheating a little bit here because if we if we really did this, it would take like 3.5 hours for us to
Yeah.
go, spot by spot and like build the matrix and be like, okay, here's the overlap. We also have an asymmetric wood accent wall here, asymmetric. And what I can do is I can grab these links. You guys ever want to refer back to them? I will also give you guys this video recording, of course. And that was also specifically in bedrooms as well. So what we can do is we can also duplicate that one into the bedrooms, right? We see that they even did it in the other bedroom as well, okay? Which we'll get there in just a moment, which is this one right here. So we see example 2. And then the utility of this is we're just going to show this type of inspiration to your design team, like whoever you eventually decide to work with, because design teams know. Again, here's another black accent wall with diagonal wood 2x4 pattern. That's just what I call in my head. Don't flame me if you're a designer watching this one after we share this recording with you. The bunk beds are, let's see if we have some examples of what the quality of these look like in this one. This one, by the way, I think is the most brilliantly designed home in all the Poconos. Whoever did this one, we should be, taking a page out of their book every time.
Mhm.
This is almost like flawless. They just nailed it. Super expensive 4-post beds. The staging is phenomenal. Photographs of photographer are phenomenal. Plants are sick as fuck. Charcuterie board. I mean, you get this. This is vibes. You're a marketer now. You're painting the most brilliant experience that you can possibly paint. And then I also
Yeah.
want to share another quick nugget here. What you're also trying to optimize for is you want to be on either end of this spectrum at all times. The highest level to which you see the luxury, premium, unique amenities thing that pulls people in and gives them those wow moments. Like this home, for example, it seems like they almost do it in more than like half or even 2/3 of all their photos. Just every time you slide into the next one and next one, it's like, oh my God, you're just hitting me over every which way on like how good this thing is. On the other extent, the thing, so you want to maximize that. The other thing you want to minimize is the rate at which you have photos that drop the energy level so significantly because of these small, nuanced little things that might seem inconsequential to us, but are very substantial to people who are trying to make sure that they don't book a place that, in their mind sucks. So examples of things like this are like 22-inch TV. Nothing screams the exact opposite of luxury or premium group travel with a 24-inch TV from 2006 that's like this thick and it's sitting on this nasty, disgusting looking dresser. Ugh,
Yeah.
yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think it's
even
actually
if
in
you
one of the
don't
co-host
want,
agreement to say we won't allow you to keep any old TVs. Like they
yeah,
wrote it
you
right
just
into
take
the
a hammer,
co-hosting agreement.
to them and you smash them. So your contractor is forced to remove that god awful monstrosity from the wall. But these are mission critical things. Like you might not consider like, isn't a 55-inch TV too big in this bedroom? Like the kids would almost need to look on this side of the screen, then look this way if they're watching like a football or basketball game. And the answer is yes. You want to do that because it looks sensational in your photos. 55 might be ridiculously large. It doesn't matter. And by the way, the kids will get used to it. The adults will get used to it. They're like, oh my God, my retinas are being blown out by this massive TV with all this light coming at my face. It's okay. They'll deal with it. So the extent to which they just nailed all this stuff. And again, they got I'm going to steal this too. So the floating shelf stuff. This is in the bedrooms, outside of them as well. So the floating shelves with greenery.
Nick, what are some other like big things that are turnoffs
We'll get there.
like that?
I'll show you some.
Okay.
I'll show you some turnoffs for sure. So example, and then my list. So we'll just steal from my little Amazon list down here. So I got the floating shelves and then the green decor. Another trend, and I'm noticing this, and I want to make sure that we don't skip this. The single person, or let's call it the two-seater style sofas.
Our
Yeah, and
bedrooms are
again, what
pretty
all
small.
we're doing here, all we're doing at this stage, by the way, is we're not thinking with constraints in mind.
Okay.
We're just identifying because we're identifying what clearly is setting these ones apart. And
Okay.
then when we got to fit everything in with the space constraints that we might have budgetary constraints, we might have proximity constraints, we might have septic constraints where we can't like advertise that we can sleep, 26,000 people in this listing.
Mhm.
We'll fit all this in based on the constraints after the fact. Light fixtures are just insanely good, so I'm going to talk about that as well. I'm a huge fan of they always choose very light colors, either white or a lighter off-white for the sheets, and then they do a lot of accent coloration. Like it seems to be that there's always one hardcore accent color in every room, right? You see this one, it's obviously green, right? I think in that very first bedroom, this one also chose green, right? So the pillows are green with the green plants. So everything else remains kind of neutral. They also do the great accent walls. It's just like whoever designed this one is just a genius. Like this one looks awesome. This is literally one of the best designed homes in the entire Poconos. We're noticing trundle beds. So if we need to be able to sleep additional people in there, my strong recommendation would be at least two bedrooms. At least two bedrooms with quality bunk beds, right? Because again, that's going to allow you guys, whether you can advertise it or not, it'll be unspoken that people can literally count the bedrooms and count the beds. Could literally sleep like up to 18 to 20 people in this thing, no problem. Your six bedroom, which is amazing bang for your buck for literally only having 2,700 square feet here. Charcuterie boards for the staging and the photos for sure. Photography is easy. We have a killer photographer who can do stuff for you. So really all that was just for the interior. The other one that I also want to explore is, so I have a thesis on should we even try and test and see if we can get a movie theater room in there as well. This one's a page out of our book as well for literally every client. So backyard, we'll get to the exterior right now. Let's just go there really quick. So the fire pit, I'm going to let you guys just pick and choose inspiration that you guys really, really like. This is good on their patio area, or they have like a deck that I think this is built on top of. What they also have going, if you saw this in the other photo, is they actually have two of these areas. Strongly encourage you guys to do both. I will literally give you guys the rank order list for everything in the backyard. Let me just do this separately for you guys. So there's a little more continuity. So backyard. So the highest rank order stuff would be the pool, followed by a pickleball court. And these are constraints only based on what capital do you guys have, and then what space and terrain is actually available. But assuming none, my rank order list would be, so putting green next, sand volleyball court, again, space permitting, fire pits, so in ground and with stone patio, walkway, or seating area around. And then probably like a sauna is actually going to be somewhere, either barrel or I do at least 2 levels at least 4 people. So then hot tub. Yeah, and the Poconos, I would say that's probably one lick above the sauna if you don't already have one. Which you guys don't, so you'll need to buy one. Great staging here. Okay, so they have a killer game room setup. I also thought I saw a projector in here. Yeah, so this is their movie theater room. Interesting note, in almost every area, whenever we have clients launch a movie theater room, I'll go one step backwards. In almost every area, we uncover that the top 1, 2, 3, 4 listings in our very tight submarkets, so like the 85th, 90th, 95th percentile, even like 80th percentiles in some submarkets, they've installed movie theaters, movie theater rooms, kind of themed like this one or a lot better than this one, which we can also explore. And then in some scenarios, these hosts actually they've installed the movie theater room and they've actually skipped the game room entirely. And they've not sacrificed any like average daily rate or occupancy versus the other ones that did the inverse. That they have game rooms but no movie theater room. Interesting thesis starts floating around in our heads. It's like, is it almost better to just overcommit to a another communal seating area where people want to just hang out and watch movies and chill together versus the games? So almost to the extent of like, do you even sacrifice the game room in favor of a more robustly dedicated movie theater room, right? Did I say that the right way? Almost sacrifice the game room in favor of something like this. So you see this one in the back. I think this one actually in the back is a sectional. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe 5, 6 here, plus 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with the beanbags. What if you guys look at anything we do in the Smoky Mountains, especially any of our recent clients' homes that have gone live, the movie theater rooms are stupidly good. Stupidly good. We had a client who just launched out there that we projected it to do like 950 a night for average daily rate. She's getting like 1,700. She launched like 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I think that had a lot to do with it. Go ahead, yeah.
I have a question regarding the movie room. Is it better to get this, that separate seating with like the holders and the recline, or is it better to have
one
couches?
of the most egregious mistakes anybody makes in the short-term rental space when it comes to movie theaters is they do these god-awful, uncomfortable stadium seating seats versus the nice plushy sofas where you can lounge and be with your friends, your family, or your loved ones. And the reason that those stadium seating ones categorically perform worse than the others is because of exactly that. You can't lounge, you can't lay down, and you can't cuddle up with your loved ones, your spouse, your boyfriend or girlfriend, or your kids or whatever. So if you're ever considering that route, I would always shy away from that and just go for the more plushy, cushy sofas. Even if it's like a single person, like ottoman style thing, if you just slide the two of those next to each other, literally in almost every market in the Smokies where we look and compare against which ones are doing better and which ones are doing worse, there's almost always the main correlation of the worst ones or of whatever end of the spectrum that we're looking at for like revenue on these homes. The highest ones always have the sofas and the lowest ones always have the stadium seating. So highly discourage the
And then
uncomfortable stadium seating ones.
What about projector and screen versus just a really big TV?
Whatever makes the most sense, just aesthetically. Like if you have the space to do it, you can do the projector. I personally like super high-end quality TVs. The picture quality on the TV is always going to outperform a world-class projector, unless you're in like a fucking IMAX or whatever, and it's like you spent like 100,000 on that one. It's up to you. Don't worry about it. It's inconsequential right now. Either one works. Either one works. It's not like there's a significant. I don't know that granular data on whether or not one outperforms the other. So we're almost finished with the comps. Okay, so yeah, so I dovetailed because I was trying to determine to what extent is the quality of the bunk beds. The ones that I have in the short list down here. So I have some bunk beds listed somewhere in here. I actually think I have it listed it's one of these up here actually, like this one. Minimum quality is this, and these are like $600 or $700 per, I believe. This one suddenly got rid of these like 5,000 5-star reviews, all these fake Amazon ones. But these are like $600 or $700.
Yeah.
But these are clean. Minimum quality is this. Like this is the minimum threshold for how good you want this thing to look. Again, it's just wood. It's cleaner. Like these are metal and they kind of, well, I can't even tell. These might actually be wood. But like the minimum threshold is this. If you spent like 1,000 on each bunk bed, I don't think you'd be dissatisfied with it. I think when your listing is converting, you never regret anything that you spent money on. So again, they've substantiated the accent walls here. More quality bed frames, right? A lot of lighter colors, cool light fixtures, which are lamps in this case. But yeah, I think the thesis is pretty consistent for all this, right? So you see all these like mosaic style accent walls with the wood, with the paint. Again, they did it again. light accent color. So again, nothing too crazy difficult to
Mm.
nail here. They had great paint color for the bathrooms as well. That's super, super clean. Okay, all right, backyard, because I think this is the most important thing. What god awful fake AstroTurf did they put back here? So that's god awful ugly. This is also a terribly stupid photo and a terribly stupid time to take it as well.
Mhm.
So that backyard sucks. Their deck is great. Didn't even decide to unwrap the furniture to showcase this in all its glory. Literally couldn't come back 3 months later and just taken it when the weather's just a little bit better. But yeah, you see this thing. I mean, this is like a not to throw shade at anybody's home in the Poconos, but like, man, what an ugly fucking looking home. And like, you would
It is
never think that
awful.
this Airbnb is like the number. This
Yeah.
8 bedroom one is like the #1 performer in the whole category. But again, they just
Is it
nailed
because
all
the eight
the.
bedrooms? Is it because
It
of the
is. It
eight
is.
bedrooms?
Which it is the 8 bedrooms, which is driving this. Which what was the core theory here? What was power law?
Mhm.
Major coefficient, rank order item #1. It's heads and beds.
Yeah.
So if you theoretically just want to, upgrade the
Yeah.
extent to which you can charge a lot of money, but they also absolutely nailed the design too. It's not like they, fell short in really any category. Their backyard does kind of suck. It leaves something to be desired. You guys will get a significant lift if you can commit exceptionally well to it. So
Yeah.
let's
What
let's
is the
finish this.
occupancy? What is the
I mean,
occupancy on that
the
eight bedroom?
occupancy doesn't matter. The revenue matters. So, for example, like these are both making a shitload of money at 39% occupancy. They're just very aggressively trying to get as much as they can on weekends.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Nick. I meant the eight bedroom. How many people are they fitting in? Like, what's
They
the
list
advertised
16. They could clearly
16?
sleep like 24 people in there, no problem.
But they put 16 in. Okay.
Yeah,
And
that you
that's
could
in the
average three
same,
people in
that's the
each bedroom.
same that's the same HOA as us.
Probably.
So
Yeah, there's a
we think,
limitation due to
Nick,
septic stuff. Yep. Yeah, you
yeah, we
can't just.
think that the max limit in our HOA is 16.
Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty
so,
much the case. But everybody who has a brain and is thinking about which place do they choose,
yeah,
they'll look
right.
through and see the larger
Yeah.
category, the larger bedroom
Right.
category, and they'll
So you
they'll
make the
elect that one.
bedroom photo show that you can
Yes.
fit more than that, even though
You
you can
will
only
list the
advertise
actual
16.
number of bedrooms and the actual
Okay.
baths that you have. And in
Yes.
your description, you'll say there are X number of beds. You have to shy away from saying things like you can sleep up to 28 people in here because some,
Mm,
prying eye who
yeah,
operates your HOA
totally.
might, come and, crack down and say, hey, you got to change this. We're
Absolutely.
going to, kick you
Yeah.
out. Let me give you guys an estimate of where I think it's going to end up being at.
Okay.
I think you'll probably, and again, what I encourage you guys to do is you can also do significantly less than this because a lot of designers, they'll have access to like warehouses and avenues where they can get stuff at like wholesale prices. Like they can get an almost, not almost, but like slightly above cost. They get massive, massive discounts. So you might end up spending closer to like $12 per square foot if you wanted to get rid of everything. I would say that's probably, are you guys going to engage with the help of a designer for this?
Maybe for some parts, like
Okay, so kind of like a
I
facelift extend of
We're debating.
showers.
we're
We're
debating.
debating, to be honest with you, because
They're
a
crazy
lot of
expensive.
a lot of the quotes you got are very high,
I would
and
recommend you guys just take this inspiration, get one
mm,
general contractor and one painting
Yeah,
crew, and just do it yourself. Like you guys can
that's
get
what
it
yeah.
almost entirely done in like a week. You could get enough of everything live to stand it up and go live this year. Come back early next year with another round of like, all right, we have more capital to deploy. We could oversee the landscape, even though it's going to be, the dead of winter in January. But like oversee the landscaping. Like for your very first one, I'd encourage you guys, you maybe do like 2 or 3 installments of this in your first like 9 months of owning this home. If by the time you get to your summer months, you got the design cranked up and you have the backdoor stuff like the cheapest stuff you can do immediately is like the fire pit. Landscaping team can literally get the whole thing done in under 4 hours. It's removing earth and replacing with earth. Literally zero constraints for you guys getting that done super swiftly. The rest of your terrain, I strongly encourage you guys. I think the next highest rank order thing that you guys could do outside of a pool, I think you guys testing the pickleball court out here would be like mind blowing good. I never try and say like I guarantee, but like you can get somebody to pour the concrete, excavate or remove the small bit of earth that you would need to remove out there, pour and fill the concrete, and then paint and do the finishing and the surfacing. That would be a very unique amenity, and that would be an exceptionally substantial and compelling reason for a lot of enthusiasts of pickleball and any outdoor activities to book your place over some of these other ones where, I mean, these 1 or 2 homes that we looked at, there are some things in there just being real you guys can't compete with there, just being real. And you guys know this. It's a
So yeah,
$380,000 home that you guys are closing on. Some of these were like
yeah,
double that. But you
yeah,
guys
totally.
can replicate And then, so this would be an example of that, like, I think like ancillary, the third item that I discussed. There's nobody else who has a pickleball court out here. What do we
Yeah.
know about pickleball courts from other areas? Pound for pound, dollar for dollar, those things always pay for themselves very, very swift. I would strongly encourage that might be one. You might need to ask the landscaping team or the team who you would need to do it with, and you could get a couple different quotes. You could also, once you guys close, you can have them walk back there and just be like, hey, there's nobody here. Like, you guys have free reign to go out there, take a few photos and pictures. You can WhatsApp video call us or FaceTime video call us while you're out there, so we can also review with you.
Mm.
Um, let me actually look at your backyard again. And again, yeah, you
Yeah.
guys have limitations. Without a doubt.
So Fun Kit told us they have a bigger property in, I think it might even be our HOA. They're putting in a pickleball court.
Court
It's not that big. Yeah. The
44.
other
Yeah, it's not big
concern
at
I
all.
have is that the
Noise,
neighbors are quite
noise.
close and they may be pretty pissed off at the pickleball court when you're so close to your neighbors.
I mean, what I would do is I would just set the expectation with your guests. Hey, this is a residential area, and we're happy to support you guys with these, super cool amenities that we've added
Mm.
in. But also, like, we're going to install a minute noise device. A minute noise device is it's a sound decibel reader, and it's got some very cool integrations. And you could set up some automations where it notifies you or the co-host and or your guests in parallel, or you'll like get notifications and say, hey, on a handshake agreement, we, set this expectation with our neighbors that, it is okay to have the pickleball court, but, we also have small kids over here and we need to respect the fact that they have nap time between these hours and these hours, whatever. I think a good gesture would be to just hit up one or two of whoever are your close. I've never done this before. I also had the privilege when I started my short-term rental journey. I did do it in proximity to where I live. So it's very easy for me to just like knock on their door and be like, hey, I'm, doing this stuff at my property or doing this in the backyard. I just want to make sure you guys are like okay with all this
Right.
stuff. And I would probably cut this thing down and make this pickleball city right here. And then all your other cool entertainment stuff like the fire pit, the putting green could slide over here.
But if you were going to rank order, like, so let's say we're talking uh, sauna, hot tub, outdoor dining area, outdoor sitting area. They say fire pit, pickleball, putting green. Like, how would you rank order those things?
Pickleball, 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 pickleball. I think it's an ancillary item where we don't really see many other homes in this area marketing or advertising that they have one because not many people have done it. I
Yeah.
strongly encourage you guys to explore it because it also has utility to be another surface. Like, dude, you guys don't have to have like some like $80,000, world class pickleball court where like pickleball pros are going to be coming out here expecting that level of quality. It can be repurposed to stuff that they can use for other things. Like if they want to pull out like patio furniture on top of it, whatever. It's not ideal, but you
Mhm.
can convey to them like you can use this for other stuff too. It's a surface, and this canvas is this is your canvas. You can do whatever you want. I think based on the space you guys have, I would strongly encourage wherever it makes the most sense to do version one of the pickleball court. You also just need to consider like you don't want people like running off of the edge of that thing and like stepping onto some uneven surface and breaking their ankle. So you might
Yeah.
also need to like drop some dirt or some mulch or some wood chips or something that's like very, tightly packed down, but a relatively like soft element to land on. Unless you're gonna just do extra like 5 to 10 feet on either side of that thing and then still need to do it. So just considering that. I would say that's item number one to add in if you feel that the pool install at any point in the future is completely off the table, then I would just do the pickleball court in this like massive like backyard, not the side thing where you can kind of see it from the street. Because that pickleball court would be the furthest from any of your neighboring properties as well. So there's a little bit of a sound dampening thing that would happen with, your house kind of like blocks some of it from this darker blue one on the other side of you. I think if you guys could just nail the pickleball court, fire pit and hot tub, and then if your budget permits it, like the sauna as well. I can see you guys if you really nail the design stuff. Like, I think you're getting into 80, 90, 100,000 in your first year, no problem. And I think as time goes on, I think you'll start commanding a little more.